Hey guys and gals, it's just me hopping on for my daily Facebook Live. I am fighting off a cold or sinus infection of some sort, but I'm here nonetheless. And I did go to school today, and I tried not to breathe on my students because that wouldn't be very nice. So I've got some tea for my throat. It's not my normal time of 8 p.m. and it's not my new normal time of 5:30 a.m. but it's a good time, and I'm here and you're here, and hopefully you're in a good spot wherever you're at. So tonight I want to talk about evolving. I've given this a lot of thought. By evolving, I mean it's time. It's time for me to evolve and change and grow. And it's time for you to evolve and change and grow. And I have a little visitor who snuck in. So give me 1 second. Yeah?
Can I put the Xbox on Hunter's room?
If it's okay with Hunter.
Okay.
Oh. Anyway, thank you for being patient. Plus, it gives people a chance to jump in if they want to. So, the truth of the matter is, if we are not evolving and growing and changing, we're dying. I'll say it again. If we're not evolving, changing, growing, learning, we are dying. Now, I'm not trying to put a big downer on your evening. Hey, Chris. Nice to see you. Not trying to put a downer on your evening, but I am trying to make a point for you to consider. When we stop growing, when we stop evolving, when we stop changing and learning, we stagnate, right? Our bodies never stop growing. Good to see you too, Chris. The cells in our bodies, and I'm not super scientific and I'm not super medical, although my sister-in-law's a nurse, so clearly that makes me more knowledgeable than other people. But when our bodies, trying to think, get my thoughts in line here, when our bodies are changing every day, we don't notice necessarily. Like we're not cognizant of the fact that our skin never stops growing, changing, evolving, developing, shedding, dying. Like our skin never stops going through that process. The cells in our body never stop changing. They never stop growing. That is a process that continues to happen until the day we stop breathing and die. So why would that be any different for our hearts and our heads? That's what I really want to get at here. Why is it any different for your head and your heart than for your body? We are here on earth in our bodies. We are experiencing this world from the perspective of being, encased in this being. Now I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience and not the other way around, but that's a topic for another night. If our bodies must continue to grow and change and evolve, so must our minds, so must our hearts and our emotions. We must evolve, because if we don't keep pace with the changes, I'm not even saying like keep pace with the trends and keep pace with, technology and keep pace with all the demands. No, that's not what I mean. But I mean, if we do not mentally and emotionally keep pace with the natural progression of change in life, nature, everything in nature evolves. And if we don't keep pace with that ourselves, we will die. We will stagnate and die. That's probably more harsh than most of you are used to me sounding, but it's the truth. I want to pause and give Melissa a shout out. I am so happy you finally got to check in here as well. I have missed you, friend. So evolving. A while ago, I got a hold of this book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. I'm going to hold it up. The Slight Edge. It's backwards to you guys. Well, there it is. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And I can't exactly tell you who recommended this to me. I know it was a previous employer, a previous manager, several years ago. The basic concept that Jeff writes about in The Slight Edge is you basically have two trajectories in life. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what situation, there is an angle that can be measured. And by angle, I mean like, a 90-degree angle, so to speak. Okay? So there's this angle that can be measured. All right? We are either moving up the angle, we are either evolving and growing and changing, or, on the other hand, maybe I'll do it this way, we are stagnating and slowly dying. Not a great prognosis, friends. I don't want to do that with my life. I want to continually move up my trajectory, move up that route, that higher path that is constantly sloping upward, right? Constantly headed towards my potential. I don't ever want to stop learning. I don't ever want to stop growing and evolving, because the moment I do, or the moment that I stop dreaming, the moment that I stop engaging with my world, is the moment I begin to move down the other way, the other trajectory that trends down. And it's the moment where I feel like death begins. I don't necessarily know for sure, but I do know that people who cease to have purpose slowly die. Sometimes it takes a while, but when you cease to have purpose or passion or drive or a calling, that's when that dangerous downward slope takes over. You can kind of think of it as like the Pac-Man mouth, right? This is all the open potential of your life. Upward trajectory and then downward trajectory. I don't want to be on that downward spiral. I don't want to fall down that slippery slope. Because the truth of the matter is, yes, I know that people come back from that edge, right? I know that people come back from a downward spiral. I know it's possible to heal. I know it's possible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and put on your big girl pants and get on it. I know that that's possible. But the reality is, it is so hard, it's so difficult, and it's not always probable. And that's what concerns me, right? Chris says such great words. Thank you, Chris. This has been on my mind. And so the other day, I picked up the book again, The Slight Edge. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Basically, Jeff Olson, he explains our lives on that, that up and down angle, that Pac-Man shaped mouth. And he says the difference between somebody who's headed up into their potential versus another person who is extremely similar but headed down that, the other direction, it's the slight edge. It's a very, very small, all angles start at the same place, right? So it's a really, really small space. A lot of us start out in the same spot on an even playing field, and the difference is the slight edge, making one different decision after another, and they add up over time. So definitely pick up a copy of Jeff Olson's The Slight Edge if you're interested. And I challenge you, my friends, because I love you, I challenge you to think about and maybe even journal about your own season, your own perspective on evolving. Do you feel like you have been sort of flatlined for a while, just sort of going through life, sort of just kind of happy medium, or not even happy, just kind of medium, right? Flatline. There's no pulse. Do you feel like you're just starting a season of trending, or like your pulse is picking up, and so you're just kind of starting, like going back to that metaphor of a heart monitor? Do you feel like you're coming out of a season where now it's time to rest, but you've evolved, you've changed, you've grown, and now you need to rejuvenate so you can go through the process all over again? Because I do think that there are seasons for that. I know for me, I feel like I am headed back into a season of evolving. It's time again to grow. It's time again to, step out of the comfort zone and pursue the slight edge for me. Where are you? What are your thoughts on evolving? If I'm not evolving, if my mind and my heart are not keeping up with my body, right? Because our bodies are constantly changing. When our bodies stop changing, when our cells stop growing and evolving, that's the moment we die, right? So if I am not keeping up with that, keeping up with my physical body, where am I? What's really going on? A little bit of a heavy topic, not too bad. My computer just went to sleep. But it's important. I think it's important that we at least think about it. So it's time to evolve. Because if you're not evolving, changing, growing, learning, you're stagnating. And stagnating is a pretty slippery slope. And I don't want that for you. And I don't want that for me. All right, my friends, Melissa and Chris, thank you for joining me. If you are watching this on replay, I hope you enjoy it. As always, I am sending you grace and peace and sunshine, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night.